Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch AM from Graham. Ahead today, the search for survivors after the massive earthquake in Turkey and Syria. We've got the details plus. Anti-Semitism is on the rise around the world with a high percentage of crimes targeting Jews.
You have people saying, some of the black extremists saying, you're not even the real Jews. We love what Hitler did. He went after you because he knew who the real Jews were.
We'll have more on this, including what some believe needs to be done to fight against these crimes. Maverick City Music wins big at the Grammys, and The Chosen wins big at the box office. We'll explore these wins and more in this week's Top 5 Stories, making headlines in the world of uplifting entertainment. Damar Hamlin honors the medical team who helped him after going into cardiac arrest on the field more than a month ago. All these stories and more coming up next from the CBN Newsroom.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this half hour with an update on the search for survivors of the catastrophic earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. The 7.8 magnitude quake has killed more than 21,000 people. Emergency crews made several dramatic rescues today, pulling victims from the rubble. Mark Martin has our top story.
Even days after the massive quake that hit the border region between Turkey and Syria this past Monday, rescuers are still finding survivors. It's an example that there's still hope for finding people alive. The vice president of Turkey says more than 120 people have been pulled from the devastation of buildings recently. This example lifting the spirits of those in the hardest hit parts of Turkey and Syria. Rescue workers pulled a mother and her 6-year-old daughter from the debris using heavy equipment. They worked for almost 20 hours to reach them inside a collapsed home. Crews search around the clock, hoping to hear signs of life. Workers also rescued a father 3 days after the quake, 2 hours after crews pulled out his daughter from the same area. There's also positive news on the newborn baby born underneath the rubble. She's been named Aya, which is Arabic for miracle, and she's getting healthier at the hospital each day. Tragically, her mother did not survive. Although many have been found alive, rescue stories are becoming fewer as the days go on. Tents have been set up to give survivors left with nothing a place to stay. Turkey's foreign ministry says nearly 100 countries have offered to help, and nearly 7,000 rescue personnel are already on the ground. The aid is necessary as hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced from their homes. CBN's Operation Blessing is on the ground distributing supplies to survivors.
We start delivering some food and also some solar lamps, and plus some bags with hygiene and some basic items for the families. Also for the kids, we gave some snacks and some juices and some Nutri-Bars that is very needed in this time.
And Operation Blessing's Diego Traverso is grateful for the help to provide these things.
Thank you so much for your support, for your prayers, for your partnership. Operation Blessing is committed to be here and support the victims thanks to your support.
Mark Martin, CBN News.
You see Operation Blessing at work there. If you would like to help in that disaster relief effort after this horrible tragedy, you can do so by calling 1-800-700-7000, or you can go to cbn.com. You can also text OBDR to 7177, or you can send a donation. You can send that to Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, the zip code 23463. Anything you're able to do is greatly appreciated. America says the Chinese spy balloon was part of a huge military-linked aerial surveillance program. It's a program targeting more than 40 countries under the direction of the People's Liberation Army. According to the administration, similar balloons have sailed over 5 continents. They say imagery of the balloon collected by American U-2 spy planes as it crossed the country shows it was capable of conducting signals intelligence collection with multiple antennas and other equipment designed to upload sensitive information and solar panels to power them. Congress was finally briefed on the Chinese spy balloon on Thursday, both the House and Senate receiving full classified briefings, and the House passing a measure to condemn China for it. Lawmakers voting unanimously, 419-0, to hold China responsible for the spy balloon that crossed the United States before it was shot down off the coast of South Carolina. Many lawmakers in both chambers asking why it was allowed to cross the U.S. at all.
I, along with many of my colleagues on this committee, have been ringing the alarm bell on Chinese aggression long before last week's news. And I will take on anyone to make sure China does not weaken our country. That's why I'm prepared to hold anyone accountable, including the folks seated before this committee today, to get real answers. This administration owes Americans answers not only on what happened this past week, but on what steps they're going to take to ensure that this never happens again.
The Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense and Hemispheric Affairs testified why the balloon crossed the country after President Biden was briefed.
We recommended taking the balloon down over water. Waiting to do so had 3 benefits. First, it gave us additional time to observe the balloon, again, assessing the PRC's capabilities and tradecraft. Simultaneously, we protected against intelligence collection. Second, this allowed us to refine options and decrease the risk of debris causing harm to civilians. And third, waiting to shoot the balloon down over water improved our prospects at recovery, which are ongoing.
The Smithsonian Air and Space Museum has apologized to a group of pro-life students for kicking them out of the museum. Students from Our Lady of the Rosary School in Greenville, South Carolina were wearing hats with a pro-life message. They decided to visit the museum after attending the March for Life back in January. According to a complaint filed by the American Center for Law and Justice, museum employees told them they had to remove their hats or leave, eventually forcing them to leave. An employee reportedly mocked the students and called them names. In response to the ACLJ action, the museum has apologized for what happened. Coming up, a recent report shows anti-Semitism on the rise around the world, with 63% targeting Jews. We're going to have more on this report, including what some believe needs to be done to fight against these crimes. We'll be right back. Most hate crimes in the United States are taking the form of anti-Semitism, while only a small fraction of the population is Jewish. Buoyed by social media, a new report shows anti-Semitism is on the rise around the world. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has more on this apparent sweeping trend.
According to 2022 Top 10 Worst Global Anti-Semitic Incidents, the Wiesenthal Center put American rapper Kanye West at the top, saying his actions released a tsunami of hate.
This is a man, before everything fell apart, had over 50 million individuals between Twitter and Instagram. Over 50 million people. When he spoke, people bought whatever item it was that he was selling. Unfortunately, for reasons we're still not sure, at a certain point, he turned his attention to vilifying the Jewish people.
West made a number of anti-Semitic comments and during a December interview praised Adolf Hitler.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
Rabbi Cooper says this behavior injects hatred into the mainstream.
You have people saying, some of the black extremists, saying, you're not even the real Jews. We love what Hitler did. He went after you because he knew who the real Jews were. Anyone who has any education knows what the Nazi ideology was, all based on racism and in race. And, given the opportunity, God forbid, if they had won, imagine what would have happened to black people.
Concerned about the spread on social media, Cooper went directly to Elon Musk after the billionaire acquired Twitter.
In this new free speech, non-censorship era, that he would find a way to deal with extremism and hate speech targeting not just Jews, but all groups.
According to the report, FBI Director Christopher Wray confirmed that some 63% of all religion-based hate crimes in the U.S. target Jews, who make up only 2.4% of the U.S. population.
You have now, in the recent hate crimes in the last few days and weeks, you see spray painted, Kanye was right. It used to be Hitler was right. So we have seen already the weaponization of those words into deeds. It's been a horrific year.
The January attack on a Texas synagogue by an Islamic extremist from the UK also made the top 10.
shows up on Sabbath morning at the Coleyville synagogue, comes inside, takes the rabbi and the rest of the people there hostage for hours because he wants to get the release of a prisoner at a federal penitentiary nearby who's a woman affiliated with ISIS. So that is not just a hate crime, that's terrorism.
Cooper believes local law enforcement needs additional support in order to be more responsive to these hate crimes.
You feel that especially in the larger cities, so New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, where religious Jews have been accosted and attacked on the streets directly because some of the people doing those terrible deeds feel, A, they probably won't be arrested, not immediately, although there are cameras around, and then if they are brought in by the PDs who are trying their best, you have cashless bail in New York.
One of Cooper's bigger concerns is what's happening on America's college campuses,
where the demonization of Jews and calling into question even as high as the UN, maybe it never should have been a Jewish state, maybe it's not a legitimate thing, they stole people's land, it's apartheid, it's colonialism. What it is, it's a nonstop asymmetrical war against the Jewish state. And in terms of the local Jewish community or students and sometimes faculty, they're roadkill to these campaigns.
And he emphasizes that it's not just in the U.S.
Others include the statements that are made by a variety of diplomats working for the United Nations, specifically UN Human Rights Council. Extreme anti-Israel bias. The new special rapporteur for Palestinians, a woman from Italy, is an anti-Semite. And the problem there, again, it's human rights, it's the United Nations, and there is no price to pay.
One high-profile event happened at a joint press conference with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas in Berlin. At one point, Abbas said Israel was guilty of 50 Holocausts against the Palestinians. It took the chancellor a day to respond.
There are millions of Europeans who want to believe, in fact do believe, that what the Nazis did to the Jews in the 1930s and 40s, Israelis are doing to the Palestinians today. So when he gives that speech, he knows exactly what he's doing, who he's trying to reach, to promote and spread another big lie, and to do it in Berlin, of all places.
Cooper points to the Abraham Accords as one of the biggest accomplishments leading to positive change because leaders on both sides were willing to take risks.
One of the greatest disinfectants for bigotry and stereotypes is you actually meet someone. You meet the other.
He says the Jewish people need allies to stand with them in this fight. Cooper adds the overall goal is to remove anti-Semitism from mainstream culture and put it back in the gutter where it belongs. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
And you can see more news from the Middle East and CBN's news team on the CBN News Channel tonight at 8:30 Eastern. You can also download the CBN News app and watch it on demand. Still ahead, we're going to take a look at the top 5 trending stories from the world of uplifting entertainment, including Maverick City sweeping the Grammys, and Ann Wilson as well has got some new music. Stay with us. And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. It's been a week of big wins in the world of uplifting entertainment. Maverick City Music receives top honors at the Grammys, and The Chosen wins big at the box office. Those are just 2 of the stories in the top 5 headlines in uplifting entertainment this week. At number 5, it's highlights from this year's Grammy Awards.
And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Including this performance from Maverick City's Chandler Moore and Naomi Rain. With their group sweeping the Christian categories, winning Best Gospel Performance for Kingdom.
To be doing music, our honor with this legend, Kirk Franklin.
Best Contemporary Christian Music Performance for Fear Is Not My Future.
The cool thing about this song is that these ladies started it in a flow moment at church, like a prophetic moment, and never underestimate what God can do with a seed.
Best Gospel Album for Kingdom Book 1 Deluxe.
Well, thank you. It's my turn, I guess, to say something. I'm super grateful to God and what He's able to do when you just decide to give your life to serve other people and to uplift voices that are not normally heard.
And Best Contemporary Christian Album for Breathe.
This is crazy.
We did this album with some of our friends. Doe is on the album. Jonathan McReynolds is on this album. We did this album in the middle of the pandemic when it was so hard for many people to breathe and just catch a breath.
Tennessee State University's band made Grammy history, being the first HBCU to earn the award, taking home the prize for Best Roots Gospel Album for the Urban Hymnal.
I had to put my last dime in order to get us across the line. My cousin got us across the line, even when I gave all. So we're here with our pockets empty, but our hands aren't.
And thanks to a win for Best Audiobook, Viola Davis officially joins the exclusive EGOT Club, having won an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award, and so deserved.
I wrote this book to honor the 6-year-old Viola, to honor her life, her joy, her trauma, everything. And it has just been such a journey. I just EGOT. And really, to everybody who was a part of my story, and the best chapter yet, my loves, Julius, Genesis, you are my life and my joy. You are the best chapter in my book.
At number 4.
Every once in a while, man accomplishes the impossible.
That's Matthew McConaughey as Elvis Presley, secret agent, in the first trailer for the forthcoming animated Netflix series, Agent Elvis. The teaser's got the king of rock and roll karate-chopping bad guys and even walking on the moon. News of the series, which is co-produced by Elvis's widow, Priscilla Presley, was first announced 3.5 years ago. Agent Elvis debuts on Netflix next month.
At number 3.
What have we here? My friends, you seem upset. You want to dilute our faith.
The Chosen's final episodes of the 3rd season had a strong showing in theaters, easily topping the box office on its first day Thursday with $1.67 million. For the weekend, it brought in $3.6 million to make it in the top 10 at a 9th place finish. When the show's creators announced they were premiering the last 2 episodes of season 3 in theaters, fans grabbed tickets so fast it crashed the ticketing website.
Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
At number 2.
This goes out to every outcast, to the just don't quite fit in.
Sampling the sounds of new music from Ann Wilson. Living Water is part of the soundtrack for the new film Jesus Revolution, coming to a theater near you February 24th. At number 1, a Super Bowl Sunday preview.
Football's biggest week proving to be a family affair. As the Kelsey family gets ready for the Battle of the Brothers on Super Bowl Sunday, Mom Donna crashing the party at the Footprint Center in Phoenix with cookies.
Millions upon millions tune into the Super Bowl every year. For many, commercials are the main draw, and this year, several ads will feature messages about Jesus. In a campaign that's also been seen on billboards, the message is, Jesus gets us.
There was an influencer who became insanely popular. Everybody started following him. Then, one day, he stood up for something he believed in. People got angry. The establishment called him an extremist, said he shouldn't be allowed to share his views. They would stop at nothing to shut him up. So they did what they had to do. They nailed him to a cross.
Do you have a specific hope for those who are seeing the ads?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, number one, that they get a true, more biblical sense of who Jesus was, one that is more biblically and historically accurate. And of course, ultimately, you will want people to find saving faith in the Lord Jesus Christ.
Coming up, Damar Hamlin makes a surprise appearance at the NFL Honors. See what he had to say to his first responders. Coming up. Super Bowl 57 now 2 days away, and there's lots of excitement and hype around that strong matchup. The game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles set for Sunday evening, and the teams are making history as the first 2 black starting quarterbacks to lead their teams in America's biggest sporting event.
You dream about it as a little kid when you're watching at Super Bowl parties and with your dad and your mom.
You get families and kids that save up all their money just to go to that one game. We definitely want to put on a show for them when they come.
The Department of Homeland Security also stepping up security for the Super Bowl to its highest level, with the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol using aerial security to play a key role. Also in Phoenix, Damar Hamlin made a special appearance Thursday night at the NFL Honors. The Buffalo Bills safety joined the Cincinnati Bengals training and medical staffs along with the staff at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center on stage. He thanked them for helping to save his life.
My vision was about playing in the NFL and being the best player that I could be. But God's plan was to have a purpose greater than any game in this world. My entire life, I felt like God was using me to give others hope. And now with a new set of circumstances, I can only say he's doing what he's always done. I have a long journey ahead, a journey full of unknowns and a journey full of milestones. But it's a lot easier to face your fears when you know your purpose.
Indeed, the medical team saved his life after going into cardiac arrest more than a month ago. Hamlin also received the NFLPA's Alan Page Community Award this week. With that, it's time for your Friday Faithful, and today I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap another work week together. Faith demands action. You are waiting on God, but He is waiting on you to lean into your faith and do something. You move and He'll move, just like that. With that word, make this not just a faithful Friday, but make it a faith-filled Friday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to remind you, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel as well as online at cbnnews.com. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for watching. We'll see you back here Monday. Goodbye and God bless.